Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
It's not John Brooks. It's not John Brooks. It's not John Brooks. Because John Brooks is not part of the U.S. roster once again. Because what is painfully clear, which we had a tweet from, I think, Tom Bogert, or one of those guys, maybe not Tom Bogert, is that there is a personal issue between Greg Berhalter and John Brooks. In other news, sometimes it rains. You know what I mean? I think it's crystal clear that there's some sort of breakdown.
What's the issue? Do you know?
No. The tweet, well, I do not know. The tweet was, it was very, very, very generic. It was like, sources tell me there was an issue between Greg Berhalter and John Brooks about the environment of the locker room or something. That was the tweet. And I'm just like, okay. Hey, John Brooks is a dick, whatever. And then me being a little German-American dude, I'm like, I think John Brooks was too German for the team. And for
John Brooks is too German for the team. Well,
if,
that's what they would say. That's what they said under Klinsmann, right? That they were like.
But I was thinking about this. Klinsmann is like the anti-German, because like Klinsmann left Germany as a young kid. He went to California. He's California Klinsy. He's a very go with the flow type of dude, as much as a German dude can be. And that's just not the German mentality. That's why he left Germany a long time ago. But for like someone like John Brooks, who is German, he has American passport, but he's from Berlin. He is a German dude. Germans have a thing where they just say whatever is on their mind, regardless of emotion or regardless of how it'll affect someone's bruised feelings. They just don't care. And if Greg Berhalter is trying to create this positive, it's the opposite of the American sports mentality, the Rudy. The American sports mentality is like, any given Sunday, let's punch above our weight, let's do it, gang. And I think he's creating a very positive sort of locker room atmosphere. That's what that's like. And someone like John Brooks, probably just he can't fit in.
It's like I'm not into this.
He's like, but that doesn't add up. I'm not as fast. If it doesn't add up, you can't assume that you can do better today because any given Sunday. You know what I mean? I mean,
it's
correct
like
me if I'm wrong. That's what I'm thinking.
I guess there's something to that. I was talking to somebody, because I moved to a new neighborhood, so I meet new people, and somebody was saying how like, oh, I'm from Germany, and I said. And I said, nice to meet you. And he said, well, what they don't say that in Germany, right? And I was like, no, they don't say nice to meet you in German. He was like, why not? And I thought about it, and I was like, well, the German attitude is like, I don't know. Is it nice? Is it nice to meet you? I don't know yet. I can't say. I can't say yet. Yeah, I can't. I don't know yet if it's nice to meet you. I'll tell you later. Yeah. So there is
The common German thing is to say good morning or have a good day, as in I hope your day is good, because there's no lies about that. We hope that it's good. You guten Tag or Tag. Or up very north, where my family's from, I was just there, you say moin. Moin, moin, moin. And that's short for morgen, guten Morgen. It just means good morning. Because there's no lies about that. It's like, sure.
There's no, it is a morning. Morning is happening. Yeah, this cannot be denied. Yeah. No, Germans, especially when like strangers say hello on the street in America, or the bus driver says, how you doing? And the Germans are like, he doesn't care how I'm doing. Why is he asking? But, but in Germany, the bus driver would not ever talk to you. So is that better? I don't know.
Unless it's to answer a question. Like I went on a German bus. This is the last time I was there. And as an American, all I had was a $100 bill on me, right? Now in the United States, you're not allowed to walk onto a bus, hand the guy a $100 bill, and then he gives you $98 back. You know what I mean? Like they can't make change. It's not
Right.
So I step on a bus in Germany, and I'm like, okay, I had a 50. That's what I had, and I'm like, can you break a 50? He's like, also hundreds. Like, it's a stupid question. Like, who cares?
Of course.
I gave him a 50. He gave me $48 back and change, no problemo, and then that was the end of it. Because in Germany, they have change. There's no national coin shortage in Germany like there is here in the United States. But what I'm saying is, like, it's just a professional. It's not like, hi, how you doing? Sure, I can help you. There's none of that crap.
It's very direct.
That whole how you doing was a perfect like micro boil into the difference of cultures. Because in the United States, everything was about people wishing everyone else an emotional well-being and offering some sort of false promise to reinforce that. It's like, it's nice to meet you.
But you're saying
that's a well done. You're doing great. But we don't. That's a lie. We don't know. But we have to say that. Or in Germany, they don't have to offer that lie at all. They don't know.
But it's not a lie. I mean, at the time, you mean it. It's nice to meet you.
Do you? What do you mean? Who do you meet? They say nice to meet
I
you.
appreciate this is my counterpoint as an immigrant to this country. I appreciate the formality of people introducing other people to you, which is not a thing in Germany. You can hang out with somebody for days sometimes before you actually, somebody tells you what their name is. And here it's like, if there's somebody, there's somebody you don't know, you're going to be like, oh, this is this person's name. This is this person's name. This is this person's name. Nice to meet you. This is like, I've had that experience at punk rock shows backstage at CBGB's with a bunch of drunk people who were like, but still, that's still something we do. We introduce everybody, and I appreciate that. I think that is a nice thing. And at that point, I don't lie. It's not a lie. I mean it. I think it is nice. And so nice to meet you. Nice to be introduced to you. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a lie.
I appreciate it too. It's funny you mentioned that because I think that I do that a lot. And then some guy recently called me out on it. He's like, "Whoa, you with the introduction game?" Like it's always awkward to me when like people don't know each other. Like you should introduce right away. Hi, Bill. This is Stacy from Things. Stacy, Bill. Like because I've been on the other side of that situation so many times, or just stand there awkwardly for 5 minutes with like my friend and a bunch of his buds. Right. And then after an awkward silence, they're like, "Oh, yeah, this is Stefan," and blah blah blah. And it's like, get that done right away, man. Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. It's funny you bring that up because I agree with that too. I don't disagree with that. And I feel that I do that a lot, maybe out of my social anxiety or whatever. I feel people don't do that enough here. I didn't know that in Europe that wasn't even a thing.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Like in Germany, I think this is not a thing. This is completely optional.
Yeah.
And sometimes people do it and sometimes they don't. And there isn't that same kind of formality about it where you have this like, it's like a 3-beat thing. Oh, your name, my name, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. And that doesn't exist.
That does make sense because you know what? Last time I was in Germany, again, a week ago, I had four weird like moments throughout the week I was there. And I remember Germans being rude and weird sometimes and But it really hit me this past time. It really hit me. And I came to the conclusion that in Germany, people have to fight for their own real estate more, and they have to be their own advocate more than they do here in the United States.
Well, I think of it as
what I mean by that.
Oh no, sorry.
What I mean by that is like what I mean by that for maybe listeners are like, what the hell are you talking about? Is like people could just yell like some old lady yelled at me on the train for no reason. Didn't know who I was, didn't care. She's like, watch where you're going, and like it meant nothing to her. And like in the States it happens too, especially a place like New York. But like what I'm saying is, or like some other guy yelled at me because I took a photo. He didn't like I was taking a photo in his direction and blah 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 blah. Which is, in America we never do something like that. And they don't care. They don't say sorry, please, and like that. They're like, you, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. They're just fighting for themselves. They have to be their own advocate in exactly how they feel, and that's really all that matters. And your job as a German back is to do exactly the same thing. And you're supposed to fight for you're supposed to be your own advocate. You're supposed to fight for yourself and what you want, and you're supposed to fight for the territory you're in. So the fact that someone doesn't introduce you for you kind of fits into that narrative. It's like your job is to introduce yourself, and your job is to sort of get to know who you want to get to know. That, you know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah.
Your job is to be you and yourself and take care of yourself.
I always think of it as sort of being more of an insider society. Like if you're in,
Right.
you're in, and you want to protect your inness against other people. You're not necessarily going to share. You're not like necessarily inviting. You're a little bit worried about people who are like for me, like my example is when I was, this is a long time ago, but when I was first starting in the TV industry, and my brother in I guess I could say it. Was 1996. My brother in 1996 was on the German field hockey team. And
the 96 Olympics?
At the 96 Olympics, which were in Atlanta,
wow.
Georgia. And I was relatively new in New York at the time and had just kind of gotten my footing in the TV industry and was starting to be a freelance editor. And so at the time, I was really kind of, a lot of reaching out to people here in New York, like, you're looking for help, looking for job referrals, and people were always great. Like it was just an incredible, people were always supportive, and even if they had nothing to offer, they were always nice. And it was just a very sort of collegial atmosphere, even though I was like a total newbie and didn't have a lot of experience. Anyway, so then I thought, oh, Georgia, I want to go to these Olympics. So what can I do? And so I thought, I could call German TV and see if they need help, if I can be an intern or like an assistant or something, I was trying to make my way to Atlanta and hopefully in some way. And so I called
work permits, right, or whatever at the time.
I had, yes, I did. I did have papers.
You speak German. You speak English.
I speak German. I speak English. I had some experience in post production, and so I called, and I was already on a roll in terms of like calling people a lot, like cold calling people I didn't know and trying like reaching out. So I called the 2 German TV stations, and it was like.
And in Germany, for those who don't know, it's called the first TV station, ARD, das Erste, and then the second.
Well, they were, those two were going to be,
creative, so.
At the time, they were the broadcaster. So I called both of them. And in both cases, it was like, it wasn't even that they were hostile, or it was just total confusion as to why, like I was, like as to what
the idea
of like you're just calling us because you want a job and you think that's gonna work, and it was like just total incredulity. Like, what? Do you know anybody? Here? Nope, don't know anybody here. Just calling. It was like, no, that is just not. I don't think they even ever said no. It was just sort of like they were a bunch of confused questions, and then just kind of this sort of whimper of a hang up. Because it was you
should have known no. Yeah, you should have known no.
Yeah, it's like this is how things are done. This is how things are done. We that are in, if you want to get in, barrier of entry is very high. Certainly, you don't just call and we say, "Oh, please." So I think that is a cultural difference. There's like an insiderness too. So people don't share. This is, people don't share information that readily. Like when I came to New York, I was so excited to see all these books, like The Complete Idiot's Guide to This, or something for dummies or whatever. I was like, oh my God, there's a whole industry of explaining things in Germany. That is not a thing. You're just supposed to know stuff already.
Well, and also at American schools, like I was talking to a German friend of mine last week, and she's just talking about how cool the concept is. You can study whatever you want in any school here in the United States. There's like, let's say if you want to be an actor, there's like hundreds of choices to go. Like you can learn. Education is available to whoever wants.
That is not a thing, right?
Where in Germany, there's like 3 acting schools, and they all are very exclusive.
Yeah, they only take like 10 people a year.
From the high school, Right. And it's just like in Germany, it's like only the best, the best. Like it's not for the people, like this education, which is why a lot of Germans move to the United States and study here, and it's just so funny. It's just interesting. That's an interesting concept. And here in the United States, like it's do you got skills? So like if you can make it, like especially in our industry, they'll give you one shot at least. You get one shot.
Yeah. No,
And
people
you- if
were.
you-
I mean,
if you
people
knock
were
it out of the park, you get a
extreme.
second
Yeah.
shot. Yeah.
People were
So-
extremely. People were extremely welcoming, and there was lots of opportunity. Yeah, I worked super hard. I really, did a lot of. But there was a lot of help too. It wasn't. Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, and and in Germany it's more like you get in or you don't. And if the people who are in, look over their shoulder a little bit, and they're like, I'm going to try and close the door behind me. I'm not looking to ease the way for people after me.
Well, Germany is a land of apprenticeships too. And how do you know you want to be an apprentice? Because your dad or your uncle works in that same field.
Right. Yeah.
And then he hooks you up with an apprenticeship. That's sort of how that works.
Yeah, exactly. But then the apprenticeship is like also very structured. It's like 3 years. You go to school at the same time. Like it's like a huge commitment. It's not like, oh, hey, we'll show you how to. Yeah, you gotta like pay your dues in a big way. And it's all about connections. As my mother always used to say, connections only hurt those who don't have them.
I love that phrase. It's a great phrase. But anyway, here at the Schnitzel Boys, we are seeking apprentices to help us get a show on time.
It's a 4-year. It's a 4-year program.
It's a 4-year program. It's a lot of hours, like 100 hours a week.
It is paid, of course.
Pay.
It's not like we would
paid.
not let you work for free. It's 125 euros a month.
A month. That's right.
Full-time job.
And room and board, of course, does mean Chipotle coupons, as you know, because that's essentially room and board, because you can stay at the Chipotle.
That's right, yeah.
Not a big deal. But anyway, we are seeking I think we want a team of about 50 apprentices here to sort of get the Schnitzel Boys incorporated running and get the machine
get us,
wheel, get the wheels
give us
rolling.
a little boost.
We need help with our TikTok account. That'll happen at some point.
And maybe if you play your cards right and you do a good job, after 5-6 years, you
7 years.
We will know your name.
Yeah, we'll know your name. Maybe give you 5 minutes on the pod.
What? After 5 years? Are you kidding?
Yeah, a year a minute. So, I guess we'll know. We have to consult about that with the other meeting. But anyway, I could talk that all day. The other thing, I have other stuff to talk. Like the other, there's so much other stuff, but I'll bring it up later. So much other German stuff, but I'll bring it up later. But this is as German as this podcast is. It's also about soccer and
the Fußball. But we have a little extra time because the Bundesliga is done.
That's right. And we
have
most German stuff is pretty much done, other than maybe a couple contract things.
There's
right?
the so-called silly season is already in full effect. That's why I'm. You haven't asked me where I am. I'm coming to you. I'm
fly from first things first. How do you say silly season in German? Saison de.
I don't think that was a thing. When I was.
Well, let's make it up right now. What would the German silly season?
Die verrückte Zeit.
Yeah, that makes sense, which means the crazy time.
Crazy time. Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't think they don't.
Sommer. Stupid summer. Stupide Sommer.
I don't know. I don't know what they call it.
Anyway, what do they call it in Poland? Because I believe you're in Poland right now.
I'm in Poland. I'm in Poland, outside of Robert Lewandowski's house, and I'm trying to find out what is happening.
With Bobby Lewandowski?
Yeah.
What's Bobby Lewandowski? Oh.
I could have probably... Oh, excuse me.
Hit the COVID. Drink your electrolytes. How's your electrolyte drink? What do you got there?
This is...
Is that Spendthrift? The other thing was a Spendthrift, right?
A Spindrift, yeah.
Spindrift. See, I know my seltzer.
Yeah, very good. I get really... At this point in my life, I get way too excited about seltzer. I was.
I love seltzer. I have a.
I was invited. I was invited to a party over the weekend, and I asked I asked my friend, what should I bring? And he said, oh, we're pretty set. We got the food. We got some beers. We got tequila. We got the Spindrift. And I was like, oh, my God, you got the Spindrift? That's amazing. Grapefruit? I get very excited about the Spindrift. Anyway, I could have probably saved myself the trip to Poland because just today, as I was on the plane to Poland, Robert Lewandowski,
premium economy, right?
Robert Lewandowski released a statement saying that his time at FC Bayern is coming to an end.
That is great. That's been speculated for a while, but I guess it's official.
Well, it's not official. It's not official because he has he's under contract. He's got one more year on his contract, and the Bayern brass has said that they will not let him go.
Well, that's just tactics. I think that's
it probably is tactics.
Just inviting. That's inviting Chelsea. That's inviting Chelsea to come in with an offer.
No, Barcelona is where he wants to go.
Barcelona.
From what I've heard, they've come to terms on a 3-year deal. He's 33. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah,
he's 33 years old, and Bayern are not. I mean, compared to the Premier League clubs, and Bayern are not are big spenders by Bundesliga.
Right.
Compared to Bundesliga clubs, but compared to the biggest teams in the world, they are relatively frugal, and they are not in the habit of overpaying for the twilight years of someone's career. So I think that's why these negotiations have been going a little slowly, or they haven't come to an agreement. And I think Lewandowski is now done. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He said too much has happened, and this is it. And the time is done. And now I guess it's now up to Bayern to accept. I think I read the numbers. I read is Barcelona is offering 30 million. Bayern wants at least 40.
Yeah, so I was going to say that's how this. Let me give you a little lesson, Bjorn. I have a lot of experience in transfers. I've been there. I've done it.
You've been transferred?
No, well, I have been transferred from one department to the other due to poor performance. But what I'm saying in the world of football, the world of soccer football.
Okay, enlighten me.
I have years and years of experience through this.
Yeah, program. I mean, next time maybe you could enlighten me before I get on a plane and fly to Poland.
I didn't know you were flying. You didn't call me until you're in Poland.
That's true. That's true.
That's why this connection is crystal clear, because that great Polish Wi-Fi in the farm country we've all heard so much about. Anyway, I have.
Robert he's got a satellite connection. I haven't seen him, but I did get to talk to his the maintenance guy. Gave me the password. He was very
satellite internet.
Yeah. He was also he also went to school in Bochum, so we had a connection.
Oh, no way! Oh, yeah, no wonder he couldn't. No wonder he only could get a job in Poland then. Anyway,
yeah, he wouldn't let me into the house though. I mean, that's Anyway,
in fact, when you asked, he's like, "Why would you even ask that question?"
Yeah, exactly. What
audaciousness to understand that you can't come in. Anyway, Bobby Lewandowski has to get his satellite because he has to watch the Germinator every week. He's got to get his satellite in there
every year.
But anyway, I have years of
the Germinator. I forgot about the Germinator. I have not checked it out yet. I'm sorry. Enlighten me about how transfers work. Frequently transferred one.
Because of my years of experience, this nonprofit program called the Football Manager. It's this program that comes out every year. It's for people like me to come on and buy and sell players. It's like an educational thing. It's also a video game, but whatever.
Oh, you play Football Manager? I didn't know that.
I did. I used to play Championship Manager back in the day, and then when they turned it to Football Manager, I played that. And for 1 year in the United States, they released it as Worldwide Soccer Manager. I had that one too. So yeah, I'm a big old pro. So if FC Bayern want 50 million euro for Robert Lewandowski, and Barcelona comes out with $30 million offer, this is the next step. They go to kicker, they go to the press, and be like, we are not selling Robert Lewandowski. He still has 1 more year on his contract. There's absolutely no way he's leaving. We'd sell our grandmother's souls if he ever left. We guarantee you he's staying. And that's just tactics to get another 20 million euro out of the offer. Anyway, so that's sort of just a little transfer 101. So I'm pretty certain that Lewandowski's going to make his way to Barcelona. I guess Barcelona does have 40 million euros. I'm curious what their financial situation is like. Seemed relatively dire.
This is I don't understand this either. There is constantly you hear about Barcelona being in shambles. They can't register new players, everything, but then they're still kind of a lot of they're trying to re-sign Dembele. They're trying to get Lewandowski.
Yeah, and well, more power to them. They, who God knows how those clubs are run? They're probably funded by government slush funds. I mean, who knows? They got money somewhere. Who knows how that stuff happens? If any clubs in the world have like secret super money, it's Real Madrid and Barcelona, because they just have they're just these institutions that are so ingrained in their areas and in their governments. Like a club like Bayern München, the government doesn't do much for them. Maybe gives them free land for a stadium or something. That's about it. I mean, I could be wrong. And same in England. It's entirely private enterprises. So, but anyway, I wish him the best. I do believe it's time for Robert Lewandowski to go. David Alaba left.
You believe? Wait. You believe it's time for him to go?
Well, I mean, what else is he supposed to do at Bayern? He's won everything there. He's been there forever. He's 33. I want to see some new blood. And the sad reality of Bundesliga is now they don't have Erling Haaland or Robert Lewandowski anymore. It's actually going to be more of a free-for-all for some of the other clubs. It's going to be better to make the Bundesliga a little bit more competitive. As sad as that is, because again, when I was there, the one common thread everyone brought up is like, Lewandowski's probably leaving this summer, so Bayern won't be as much of a juggernaut as usual. And it's like, that's bad mentality. You had 10 years to be as good and you failed, and now you're crossing your fingers hoping that the juggernaut just gets worse. And that's your hope, and that's what's happening, and then there you go. So good on you. Anyway, David Alaba left Bayern München, went to Real Madrid, and how has David Alaba's tenure at Real Madrid been so far?
You're asking me? I think he has. Well,
I'm segueing into the biggest game of the world over the weekend.
The Champions League final, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's going very well. He's won the Champions League. He won the league, and I mean, I think he personally has struggled a little bit. I think the center back pairing with him. I don't think center back is his best position. I think
no, he's a left
is
wing.
Is better on the wing or in the defensive midfield or yeah. So I think he's struggled a little bit. I mean, the Madrid defense was under a lot of pressure this whole Champions League season, but somehow they found a way. Yeah.
Great goalkeeping, great save from Shane Courtois. And Real Madrid, I think, had 2 shots on target, one of them being the goal, and Liverpool had like 20. And they just could not get it going.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those things you have to say. I mean, yeah, Courtois deserves credit. Really, one of the great individual performances in Champions League history. Like he was incredible. And
Loris Karius, eat your heart out. Yeah. The last time they played.
Alisson had a little trouble. I mean, he couldn't do anything about the goal, but he had a couple of sort of iffy moments. And
but it was Jürgen Klopp versus Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos getting another Champions League title. The understated German who's crushing it in Spain.
Yeah, let's talk about Toni Kroos for a little bit.
Let's talk about Toni Kroos. We bring up the Champions League final, and that's the German connection. No Americans this year, not like last year with 2 Americans involved, with Christian Pulisic and Zach Steffen. But this year, a couple Germans involved. We had Jürgen Klopp, Liverpool's amazing manager, who won Manager of the Year again this year. And despite getting 1 billion points, getting to a final, they unfortunately evaded the 2 big titles this year. And then we had Toni Kroos on Real Madrid. And I believe he's the only German in Real Madrid, right? Like Alaba, the Austrian. They've had more Germans in the past, but I think Toni Kroos, their key talisman in the midfield, who's there when they're winning and they're winning. Todd, let's talk about Toni Kroos, Bjorn. Do you have something you'd like to share?
Well, you kind of forget about him, like
right.
But he has to, like, I don't think of him as one of the all-time great German players, but maybe we should at this point. He has.
Well, the 2018 World Cup had a lot of negatives. The one positive thing was Tony Kroos' last-minute winner against Sweden.
Yeah, that was incredible. But the flip side of that, you would say, is that, this was, at that point, it was clearly his team. Like he was the leader, and he, and Jogi Löw basically gave him the keys to the car and was like, "This is," and it didn't work. Now, obviously,
that's a bigger issue.
Obviously, yes, it's just not. I don't want to pin this all on Tony Kroos, but to me, he always seemed he had always a little bit had that reputation of a little bit of a fair weather player, and Bayern didn't want to keep him, let him go relatively.
Is he the
easily.
German? Is he the German Paul Pogba? Dude, he is talented.
Well,
he doesn't make, like, Paul Pogba doesn't make bad teams good, but he makes good teams great. That's sort of his big criticism, kind of. Is Tony Kroos like that? He can make a good team great, but he can't necessarily make a bad team good.
Yeah, perhaps. And well, anyway, I think there is he deserves more respect maybe than I've been giving him. I'm like, he was the best midfielder in that game, I would say.
Yeah, I thought.
And
so
if you had told me that before the game, you're like, oh, Madrid is going to win and Tony Kroos is going to be the best midfielder. I would have been like, that's hard to believe. But I think, also the Liverpool midfield is sort of mediocre by design, right? They're just, the midfielders are just there to mop up. It all happens on the wings, and
Thiago,
but
a key figure,
yeah. And fair, I'm not saying, obviously these are all good players, but they're not.
It's not a mediocre.
But it's not their. It's not their.
It doesn't play through the midfield.
Yeah, they have a lot more defensive duties. And then when they then they brought in Naby Keita, and then the wheels came off there. But yeah, I was very impressed with Tony, I have to say, in this game, and it was a little bit of an old-fashioned performance, I thought, by Real Madrid. They're not particularly good at pressing. They're not particularly, like the modern. The things that you're supposed to be good at the modern game, the attackers are supposed to press and win the ball back, and Karim Benzema does not care about that, and the midfield, there's not a lot of the passing, the defenders are not great passers. Like, Madrid is sort of an old-fashioned team, and on some level it was kind of nice to see these players, these kind of old school players being good at old school things,
they caught him on a classic counterattack. Vinicius, they got the goal on a really classic counterattack against Liverpool, which is a high pressing side. So
right, exactly.
They're supposed to get it,
and then kind of saw the game out, with and. Some great pass, Kroos such a solid passer, and this is like all the Tony Kroos always the answer when people are like, the Keaton Parks debate. Should Keaton Parks be in the national team?
Tony Kroos, the Keaton Parks.
Well, I think Keaton Parks could be the Tony Kroos of.
I think you're overestimating
of the U.S. men's national team. Well, he's not as good, but he has those.
I think it's more of a Luka.
The point that I'm making is that people say, "Oh, Keaton Parks is only good at one thing. He's just a good passer and a good connector, but he doesn't do anything else." And it's like, that's no small thing, Like, if you
that's the point of a central midfielder.
It's not a small thing. If you're very good at that, you don't really need to be good at much else. And I think Toni Kroos is my example of that. Not to say that they're on the same level in any kind of way, but just to say, like,
also Toni Kroos, kind of going back to 2018 just in general. It's not as bad as it used to be, but Germany had this thing a long time ago where if you leave Germany, you are like persona non grata. And there was a lot of players, but I think the most famous case was Günter Netzer when he went to Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
He was off the German national team where he sat on the bench. Because he's a Borussia Gladbach legend for back in the day, and like he was a key player and he was an amazing player and he was great with his feet and he was just this great player. And then he went to Real Madrid for more money and what prestige, even though maybe at the time Germans didn't understand the kind of prestige you get from playing outside of Germany at the time. And he was just like shunned. And 2018 had sort of that issue with Toni Kroos and what's his face, Sami Khedira and Mesut Ozil, the Bling Bling Boys or whatever they were called. Remember? And essentially they were like the batch of non-Bayern German players who were very good at big clubs outside of Germany. You know, they were from Borussia Dortmund, or they were from England, or they're from Spain, or they're from Italy. They were like the good journeyman players that were not in Germany. And Germany has this history where they're very proud of their national team players that play for like Bayern Munich, like the in club. We're talking about the German culture of in and out, being in and out.
Right.
And the in club is the Schweinsteiger, is the Manuel Neuer. That's the in club, you know. That's the are you good at Bayern? And then Toni Kroos is like the president of the out club. He's like, screw that. I'm over at Real Madrid doing my thing.
Bayern really let him go without a fight. I mean, that's and then he was
Right.
like, all right, I'll go to Madrid.
Yeah, but I'm
I
wondering
think
if
it's
maybe
interesting.
he suffers that culture, like he said, like Toni Kroos. I was in Germany. There is a commercial with a bunch of Bayern players. I think a Nivea commercial or some crap. But there's no Toni Kroos commercial. You know.
Yeah.
So there might still be a little bit of that. That's sort of like small town mentality of like, if you leave the country, like we're not super, like Ilkay Gundogan is probably the best German player playing today, maybe, right? You could maybe make that argument. But like no one really talks about him in Germany because he plays in England and he's just not part of the national discourse.
Well, and he also has been he's been behind Toni Kroos. I think that when they both, I mean, that didn't work at all in
2018.
2018, 2020 when they played
2020.
the double. You know, they're kind of very similar
play.
players. So yeah. Anyway, speaking of Toni Kroos,
Right.
not getting any respect.
Right.
There was a little incident after the Champions League game. The ZDF reporter, the German TV,
The TV channel that loved you calling them, asking about Atlanta '96, right? They were all about it. That same TV
the
channel.
government television channel interviewed Toni Kroos after the game in German. And I tried to find the whole thing. I could not. ZDF doesn't. I couldn't get the whole clip, so I just have this snippet that's on Twitter. But here we go. I'll have it.
Cool.
Hold on. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Yep.
Das überraschend für Sie, dass Real Madrid doch ganz schön in Bedrängnis geraten ist?
So the reporter asked, was it surprising to you that Real Madrid was under so much pressure the entire game? And
Also du hattest 90 Minuten Zeit, dir vernünftige Fragen zu legen, ehrlich. Und dann stellst du mir zwei so Scheißfragen.
Ich finde die gar nicht.
and Toni Kroos says, you had 90 minutes to think of some good questions to ask me, so you asked me these two shit questions.
I love it.
Ich finde das gar nicht so schlimm, weil es so beeindruckend ist.
Überraschend, dass du gegen Liverpool in Bedrängnis manchmal gerätst. Was hat das?
And the reporter that's kind of stuttering, doesn't quite know what to say. And Toni Kroos says, well, it's not surprising that you're under pressure against Liverpool. It's the Champions League final.
Wir spielen ja nicht hier Gruppenspiel irgendwo. Wir spielen das Champions League Finale.
We're not in the group stage somewhere. This is the Champions League final. Of course, we're going to be under pressure sometimes. That is really not a great. It's not a great question.
Aber das ist so deutlich, weil das Real Madrid da war ja.
And so the reporters,
the reporters defending him. He's like he's sticking to his guns.
Reporters doubling down. He's like, well, but this was so. It was so obvious. It was so so egregious.
It's how they play.
It was so egregious that you were under so much pressure.
In der K.O.-Phase schon ein paar Mal sozusagen so gut wie weg. Jetzt ist er weg.
Now he's gone. He's gone for
That's
the
überraschend.
Schlimm. And he goes, ganz schlimm, which means terrible.
Really bad.
He's like,
Yeah,
that's
really bad.
terrible.
I love that you had to walk right in front of him again. He went to the press agent to be like, find me a new reporter, and then she had to walk in front of him.
I'm done with this guy. I also heard he said and this is why I thought this was interesting for us.
He said he's a
I
huge
also
fan of Schnitzel Boys.
in another part of the interview, apparently he said to the guy that, well, it's obvious, easy to tell that you're from Germany, because coming at me with this, like, this kind of a negative question. And
Right.
I guess this speaks to what we were talking about before, this like sort of keeping it real attitude, where it's like he just won the Champions League for the 5th time. It's an incredible accomplishment. It's a huge success. And the German guy gets up to him and is like, "Hey, did you imagine it was going to be this difficult?"
Right, where ABC Sports would be like, "Where are you going?" And he's going, "Disneyland." Like, that's the end. That's like an ABC Sports question. But this is ZDF German question. It's are you surprised they gave you so much pressure? But in his defense, it is a really stupid question. I mean, Liverpool is a high-pressing team. It's a final. Why would someone like Toni Kroos be surprised that they're coming out with their main game plan? Like, Jurgen Klopp does not keep his strategy a secret. Like, it's very much, we get what's about to happen, So I just love,
but the undertone, I think, and that's also what he's reacting to. The undertone of it is like, well, you got a little lucky, right? You won this thing, but you were a little. I mean, you
weren't supposed to win. Liverpool
you were sort of outplayed, and you didn't really deserve it. And Toni Kroos is like, I'm not dealing with you.
Yeah. We just won. We're doing great. We're Real Madrid. We always win. It's never a surprise when we win the Champions League. It should never be. And then literally he probably went to a CBS Sports reporter right after that, and the CBS Sports reporter's like, "Where are you going to Disneyland?"
And and so Toni Kroos, I guess, is happy in Madrid, and
that's right, not to be a
and good for him. Good for him. So this was my Toni Kroos appreciation speech. Good for him. Congratulations. Incredible accomplishment. And really one of the great German players of his generation.
Has any German won more Champions Leagues than him? I mean, probably not.
Not Champions Leagues. I don't know if
like I said, he's won 5. I mean, how many players have won 5 Champions Leagues? You know what I mean? Much less German players.
And he won. I mean, he did win the World Cup in 2014. I mean, it's not like it's not like he's never done anything.
He's got titles. We love you, Toni Kroos. You're the Schnitzel Boys, big Toni Kroos fans.
Thumbs up.
Come on and talk. All right, cool. I guess there is one other quick Europe journey we should take. The only reason I bring this up because it's a yank abroad, but Ethan Horvath's transformation. Ethan Horvath's transformation to the Premier League is complete.
Yeah,
his bench has been upgraded from a championship bench to a Prem bench. He's now sitting on the bench in the top flight, baby, as Nottingham Forest beat.
But he got to play a couple minutes. Did you see that?
He got to, he came off the bench.
He got to play. He came off the bench. Yeah.
Got a few minutes on the Reddit. They were calling him man of the match because we like to have a good time. He kept a clean sheet, his 5-minute clean sheet, and that could very well be the last 5 minutes he ever plays for Nottingham Forest. We'll see.
I mean, Bryce Samba, it has to be said, he is a hero. Like, especially not so much. He wasn't tested much in this final game, but in the semifinal, he came up big in the penalty, in the PK shootout, and he's just a character. Ethan Horvath. I was saying we were at the bar because I told you, I think last week, my friend is a big Nottingham Forest fan. Shout out to Mark Faison, and so we went to Smithfield, and so yeah, it was very exciting. It was fun to see them succeed. There were some dodgy penalty calls. John Moss, famous English referee, refereed his last game and was not in the mood for to call any penalties or deal with VAR or go to the monitor or check anything. He was like,
funny.
Nope.
Like, I'm old school. We're doing it my
That's
way.
it. I'm not giving it. I don't want to hear anything. And then on the video, and I think it was very much, I don't know this obviously, but it very much felt like, you don't, because Huddersfield did not, I don't think they had a shot on goal in the second half, even though they were behind. They did not really were very dangerous. And it was like this case of John Moss going like, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve this penalty kick. And I'm not going to give it to you because you're clearly, I mean, in both cases, the person was clearly looking for it, but also in both cases, they had a pretty good case. And anyway.
Huddersfield, formerly coached by German-American David Wagner.
Yeah, Patrick.
Former holding midfielder, German-American Daniel Williams. I'm looking up now. Is Daniel Williams still playing? I can't. The website's not a problem.
Not
anyway,
currently.
he used to be at Huddersfield once upon a time. So good on him. Nottingham Forest, by the way, for those who don't know, is one of those great historical English clubs. In the 70s, I think they won 3 Cup Winners' Cups in a row or something.
Yeah, and I remember some epic because I was a Cologne fan in my youth, and there were some epic battles between Cologne and Nottingham Forest. Some
Cologne
very memorable.
Bigger
also bigger than much bigger than in the late 70s. They won a title, and
Wolfgang Overath, I believe.
Wolfgang Overath, Heinz Flohe, Dieter Müller, Herbert Zimmermann.
Nice.
Who else?
Names.
These are those are all.
Hey Bjorn, do you want another 6 degrees of Stefan Schutte Bundesliga?
Oh, here, of course.
My dad was a soccer player in high school, and he played for his high school soccer team or whatever it was at the time. Obviously not high school, gymnasium, or however it works. And his team made it all the way to the state final, where he lost 5-1 against a young Wolfgang Overath. Wolfgang Overath was the captain of his high school team, who played against my dad's high school team, and he beat them 5-1. So my dad played against a young Wolfgang Overath once upon a time, before Wolfgang Overath would have a long, successful career as a Cologne player and a German national team player.
Amazing. That's incredible.
So, it was a little
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean,
because he was a legend. He was on the 74 World Cup winning German team. And
there was also 72. They won 72 and 74. They won the Euros and the World Cup twice in a row, I think, right, in the 70s. And that was also the World Cup that Gunter Netze, I think, sat on the bench just because he was a Real Madrid player, even though. So they used him before the 74 World Cup final in a training match. Gunter Netzer played Johan Cruyff on the bad boy team. Essentially, they're like, we're gonna play against a fake Holland. So Gunter Netzer played the Johan Cruyff because Johan Cruyff was one of the best players in the world at the time. And so was Gunter Netzer. So it's just like, I'll do him. So he played him in a training.
Yeah, and he was like, you're in Spain, you know what's going on. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But anyway, sorry. So so Nottingham Forest.
So they had some very good some epic battles in the European Cup, and Tony Woodcock, famous Nottingham Forest player, then went to Cologne on a transfer, which at the time, I think it was like 2 million marks, which at the time was the biggest Bundesliga transfer in the Bundesliga history. It was like a huge thing. And
they won't even buy you a Trabi these days, but at the time,
you can't even pay for. Yeah, that doesn't even
anyway, it's a dead currency. Yeah.
Anyway, and so Forest were big then, but now it's been since, I think, what was it, 99 or 93? What was the number? Or the last time they were in the Prem? It's a long time ago.
Not
and so it's very exciting. It's like one of those teams where it's just kind of like Leeds coming back.
Right. It's like
I'm as a Bochum fan, I'm always rooting for the Burnleys and the Huddersfield, or the kind of scrappy little teams. But it's also nice, it's nice to see these big names come back. Much like in the Bundesliga, we're getting Bremen and Schalke back. It's good to see these. Kaiserslautern is back in the second Bundesliga.
That's right.
That's
I
another.
Would love, if I had $1 billion or whatever, I would probably try to buy up Kaiserslautern or invest. So you can't buy a club in Germany, but try to invest, because Kaiserslautern is also one of those great historical teams. They were in the Bundesliga recently. They had the great Fritz Walter, Ottmar Walter from the old days. Miroslav Klose about 20 years ago.
Yeah, he's a Kaiserslautern guy, yeah.
And and the other thing about Kaiserslautern is a very American town because of all the army is there or whatever. It's like a big army town. So the Americans call it K-Town. There's like 500,000 Americans in Kaiserslautern, which is a large population. So I would invest in it, buy it, bring it back to its old glory day, but also have a huge German-American contingent. Maybe get like, make a deal with FC Dallas, bring a bunch of Americans through, and just have it be a cool German-American club, a place where guys like Josh Sargent can fall on their feet, and Matthew Hoppe and guys like that can land on their feet a little bit.
I mean, you said you wanted to restore them to their former glory. How are you going to do that with those guys?
Well, in addition to that, I'm also going to bring a bunch of Germans up. And do
You're also going to bring some people who can actually play. Yeah,
you can't lean on the Americans, but I'm saying there'll be an aspect to it. I'll make it.
All right. Well, anyway, they're already back in Bundesliga 2, and which is nice to see.
That's right.
Although they knocked out another old school club, Dynamo Dresden, so that was Anyway,
Dynamo Dresden was one of the Eastern clubs left, and now they're still in the 3rd division.
Yeah,
like there are no Eastern clubs real above the 3rd division.
A little sad in that regard, but
except for Union Berlin.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Anyway, that's Europe.
That's it. I have one more little bit, little silly season snippet. It's not going to take long. But last week we were talking about how there were these rumors of Sebastian Schnitzel and Thomas Reis both going to Wolfsburg.
Right.
And we were sort of speculating that those were just contract negotiation ploys. But now Sebastian Schnitzel has announced that he is leaving. His contract's running out at the end of the year, not the end of the season, but the end of the year, and he will not return. He will not extend it, and he will not return. And there was some, we don't know exactly, but there's some.
That means he's going somewhere, right? That's got to be what that means.
Well, it's unclear he has not said why. There's some insinuation that he felt, it's one of those where he feels underappreciated. He did not feel. Oh, please transfer. Let's go to Californian transfer expert Stefan Schnitzel to give the behind, give the background.
Dankeschön. Yeah, I am a transfer guru and expert.
Transferred numerous times.
I transferred numerous. I studied many years under the great. Ivan Gazidis, former MLS vice president, Arsenal president, now Milan president. I've been around. That last part's a lie. I've never met Ivan Gazidis, but just to be clear, usually when they say that, there's a rule that you can't really poach someone 6 months ahead of their contract or something. They probably still do it a lot anyway, but you really can't go public with what you've put pen to paper to until it's closer to time. So when people say stuff like that, there's a good chance he's already signed a contract somewhere else. Otherwise, why would you go to the press and publicly say things like that? To confidently say, I don't want to be here anymore, and blah, 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 blah. I put money on the fact that he already knows exactly where he's going, and the paperwork has been signed. We just can't announce it yet. So that's just a little expert advice from a consultant. So
thank you very much. Yeah, we don't know exactly what the deal is between the powers behind the scenes at Bochum.
So this is the Bochum sports director, real quick, likely going, saying he's leaving the club,
and he's done. I mean, he's just done an exceptional job. Like he engineered the team that went up into the Bundesliga. Then he found some players to make them better with no money, and so he's done an exceptional job. So really, when it comes to from the Bochum perspective, it should just be like, we'll do whatever you want for you.
Right.
But apparently that is not how it went from what we're hearing. Like there's been but I don't know. You could also be right. He may already just want to go somewhere else, because I mean, you're always working with limited resources in Bochum, and it must be appealing if there's a prospect to work with an actual budget. So there may not have been anything that Bochum could have done, and he's kind of also quitting while he's ahead. Next season's going to be tough for them.
Hey, Daniel Young.
Wow,
working on a shoestring budget. Oh, Bochum's shoestring budget.
Bochum is as shoestring as the budget gets.
For those of you not in the know, Bochum is part of the Ruhrgebiet, which is the old coal, like it's where the German Rust Belt's, where the Industrial Revolution's from. So naturally, there's a lot of clubs, just like in London, like where the Industrial Revolution happened, a lot of clubs happen. Schalke, Dortmund, a bunch of clubs. Bochum isn't one of those clubs, but it's right in the middle of everything. So by geographical design, they have to be a smaller club because the other clubs have like.
Yeah, Schalke West is a traditional club and a huge and it has a huge following. To the east, there's Dortmund, and Bochum is never going to be a huge team.
To be a Bochum fan, it's like a range of 10 minutes around the stadium. Like if you're outside of 10 minutes around that stadium, you're closer to Schalke or Dortmund or any of the other clubs. So like it's like a very small. All the passionate fan base in Bochum, which means that they always have a shoestring budget, so they're doing such great work with what they got.
Yeah, exactly. And so sad to see Sebastian Schinzelorts leave. I hope Thomas Reis is not following right behind him. And we'll see. We'll see what happens the next season. Hello, Daniel Young. Welcome. I am in Poland, outside of Robert Lewandowski's house, but he's leaving. He's leaving Bayern. You heard it here last.
Daniel, were you with my friend Bjorn? Bjorn, I saw you on TV this week.
Oh, yes.
I saw you on TV because you were on top of the parking garage where Bruce Arena was.
That's right.
And you were sitting there watching NYCFC and the New England Revolution going at it in the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. Daniel Young, were you at that game? I think you're an NYCFC supporter, right? Maybe you were there. But tell me about the game. I saw you were really into it. The freeze frame I have is you with your arms up in the air going, ah!
Yeah, this was after, I think, Maxime Chenot had a pretty good chance after a corner and really skied it. Yeah, it was kind of an odd... I love the U.S. Open Cup. The U.S. Open Cup is an underappreciated American treasure. I think it's as old as the English FA Cup.
Older,
and you know it gives opportunities for a lot of pretty obscure teams to get some, get a shot against the bigger guys. And Union Omaha beat Minnesota United on the road. I think Sacramento Republic also made it pretty far.
Is that an homage? Is that an homage to Union Berlin, by the way?
Union Omaha? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about them except that they beat Minnesota. Yeah. So I love the Open Cup, and NYCFC doesn't have a stadium, so they play their Open Cup games at Belson Stadium.
You're going to Red Bull Arena next round,
which is next time we'll play on the road at RBA. So we play at this turf field. Well, you are hosting, so that's why.
We're always hosting when it comes to us playing.
Yeah,
we always host.
Anyway, it was on some, like you were saying, it's on top of a parking garage. It's St. John's field. NYCFC 2 plays there, and so it was an odd game because Bruce Arena did not want to be there, as predicted. He said afterwards that he did not think that it was good to play there, and
on the parking garage.
And I guess in response to this, he ran out an absolute second team.
Right.
There's always some rotation, but at this point we're in the round of 16. It's no longer the early rounds, so there's some. And NYCFC had a pretty good lineup. Also some rotation. We played. Not all the stars. Maxi Morales didn't make the trip. Tati came off the bench late, and but it was still same for Santi Rodriguez, who. But it was still a pretty good team, and so I expected them, just seeing who New England was running out. I thought we would crush them, and it was definitely a very dominant performance, but it didn't in regulation. There were no goals, and there also weren't a ton of great chances, even though there was a lot of sort of zippy passing and definitely pretty dominant, pretty much dominating New England. New England did not have a ton of didn't have a ton of chances, but it took us to overtime, which upset, my friends who were with me had sort of scoped out a place called the Chic Shack, which was like a shawarma, yeah, like the Chic Shack, and which got great reviews. So we were like, oh, we got to check out the shawarma falafel situation there. And because the game went to overtime and the Chic Shack closes at 10, we did not get to do that. But
that sucks.
Anyway, in overtime, it had a happy ending. Santi Rodriguez scored off the bench, and so we won the game 1-0. And I tried to invade the pitch. I've been seeing all these in England. There's been all these pitch invasions lately. There's been like after every. So I was like, let's go. There's a tiny fence. There's like 3 overweight security guards. We can take those. And so I had my foot on the fence and was waving at people to follow me, and everybody was just like, "What are you doing?" So I abandoned the invasion.
You gotta save that for the final. You gotta save that for the quarterfinals. That'll be a bigger event.
This is what I was saying. It's like, I mean, we said after the Everton game in England, people invaded the pitch, and Patrick Vieira had to fight somebody.
Oh, right.
And there's all kinds of, in England, people just kind of go nuts. And in France, there was some video, which was next level, where
it's been extra crazy though.
AS Saint-Etienne got relegated, and it was like a war zone. The fans fired rockets and explosive towards the tunnel as the team was leaving, and so that was like crazy. Anyway,
people are extra rowdy these days.
My takeaway was like, next time I'll invade. I mean, if everybody's doing it, we should too.
Bring a rocket. Bring a rocket with you. Especially today.
I'm not looking to hit anybody. Well, anyway, it's not a thing in America.
But if you're gonna hit anybody, hit him today. Because you know what today is? That we didn't even bring up all day today.
It's Memorial Day.
Today is Memorial Day in the United States, where we commemorate the idea of Americans killing our parents and our grandparents and things like that. And it's a lovely, lovely, lovely holiday where we never forget all the sacrifices we did and we made, and our soldiers and our troops. And it's a fun day for us immigrants and descendants like me, because we have our foot in both histories. So but that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna bring rockets to the game, rockets, red glare. If you're gonna do it any day, do it on Memorial Day or July 4th. That's it. Or let the stadium shoot the rockets.
Right. Yeah,
that's it. Don't bring your own rockets.
Fair point.
Don't bring your own rockets. But New York Red Bulls beat Charlotte 3-1. No problemo. We didn't struggle like you guys did. And then New York Red Bulls had a confident 4-1 win over the weekend against DC United. 4-1, baby, against our real rivals, DC Scum. And then we have a fun quarterfinal game, the New York Red Bulls versus the NYCFC. Daniel Young did not attend, but he's going to the Colorado game. But he had finals. Daniel Young, if you're still on, what are you studying? You're a student? What are you studying? What are you a student of?
We'll find out.
We'll find out at some point.
Who's number one, since you're bringing up results? Who's top of the East these days?
I think it's LAFC. Top of the West, you said?
No, LAFC. Top of the East. Top of the East.
Top of the West is LAFC.
It's LAFC. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually looking right now. I don't know who it is LAFC.
But who's top of the East?
Like 4 points. I don't know. Who cares?
Who's top of the East?
It is only 1 point, not the 4 point margin.
With a game in hand. With a game in hand.
Right. Okay. So what's CFC and who's their game in hand against? Colorado, right? You guys are playing Colorado. You guys don't have another game for another 2 weeks.
Because it's international. It's international break.
Oh, right. We have USA Morocco tomorrow.
We are going to talk a little bit more about the first place team in the East, New York City FC. We're now 3 points in the Supporters Shield. I'm not gonna go too long, but it has to be. We have to be We're second in the supportership. We're 3 points behind, again with a game in hand.
Game in hand
So,
against the mighty Colorado.
Against the mighty Colorado. We are now averaging 2 points for the season, which we have never done as a team. We just finished the best month in the history of the team. We had 8 games in the month of May. 8 games, 7 wins, 1 draw. We gave up 1 goal in the entire month, and that was against Rochester in the U.S. Open Cup in a 3-1 victory. That was the only goal we gave up. We currently have 6. We're on a 6-game shutout streak, which only 4 teams have done that in the history of MLS. The last time that happened was the Galaxy in 2009.
Fifth choice goalkeeper. Yeah, with America's 5th choice goalkeeper. So well done.
Well, he got called back in now. I don't understand. Sean Johnson also gets no respect. He was great because that shutout streak was under attack. It was close against Minnesota on Saturday, and Sean Johnson really made some incredible saves, and then subsequently got called back in, not because he was so good, but because Zach Steffen, who Sean Johnson is better than.
I don't know, man.
I think that I always thought that I had to. When Zach Steffen was at Columbus, I would have not traded him for Sean Johnson.
Right.
I thought Sean Johnson was the better of the two. I'm not saying,
but Man City is like, we'll buy this guy for $4 million, and they did it. Or
that was such a shock to me. Anyway,
if I run under the field, I'm going to run under the field. I'm a ZDF reporter. I go straight up to what's his face? What's your coach's name again? Ronnie Dyla.
I
go up to Ronnie Dyla and be like, Ronnie Dyla, wow. What was up with letting that goal up against Rochester in that one tie this month? Like what?
Could have had all the whole.
How lucky has your streak been? Should you be expecting more ties coming forward? That's the question I would say as a German.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. And then Ronnie Dyla would tell you to fuck off, hopefully.
Yeah, he'd walk off. So Daniel Young is pursuing a master's in higher education administration. God bless you, Daniel, doing the good work. And it says, and he's really excited against, he says the Red Bulls have been playing great. We have been. I think we're playing great. And he's really excited to see how our pressing style will play against NYCFC possession style. Very Man City Liverpool. I think the New York Red Bulls and NYCFC have a very Man City Liverpool sort of vibe going on.
It'll be the first time we play each other is going to be in the Open Cup in I think June 22nd, and we do not have a good track record historically against the Red Bulls in the Open Cup.
Neither does Man City.
I think we've played them 3 times and lost all 3 in the Open. It's you have to. I guess it's the same as this game against New England. It sort of depends on what the lineups are going to be like. But at this point, we're in the quarterfinals, man. We got to play. You got to play
we're playing. You're playing.
Got to play full strength.
We've never won the U.S. Open Cup. We could use some silverware. We lost to Chicago Fire in the finals in 2000, I think, and that was the first time we were going to get silverware. It was really exciting. But we lost to Bob Bradley, Chicago Fire.
But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to point that out. It's been an incredible month for NYCFC, and it does see, and the only points dropped were scoreless tie at home against Kansas City, and and it doesn't even. The thing is, it doesn't even look like this team is really running at full strength. It seems like could still get better. The fullback we have, these a lot of. The fullbacks have been hurt, and so we've been missing some people. And like if Anton Tinnerholm comes back at anything close to full strength, we'll see how it goes. But it was a great month, and it deserves to be appreciated, not just by fans like me.
Other clubs are happening. Yeah. NYCFC doing great. We get it. Okay. We have other clubs to talk about. Austin are having a great season. They had a bad game over the weekend against the Galaxy, but overall they're having a great season. FC Dallas, Real Salt Lake.
But are they? Okay.
Yeah, LAFC are the best team in the league right now, which is good. Good for them. Good on them.
Wait,
the other
what?
thing I want to talk about.
How is LAFC the best team in MLS right now?
because they're top of the table and they have the best record right now. You can talk about CFC. I know you have a game in hand, but even if you were to win, I mean, you would be equal in points. So
we got the better
FCs,
goal differential.
The new New York and the LA teams are both doing well. Good on you. MLS loves the fact they have a successful team in New York and LA. They've been waiting for years for that. They got it. And good on them. But you know what else has been going on in LA that I'm trying to get more involved with? Is Angel City FC. A very exciting club.
Yeah.
I'm seeing jerseys. I was at a big barbecue yesterday. People went to the Angel City game.
I own a shirt. I own an Angel City FC shirt.
Really? Where did you get that shirt from? Who'd you steal it from?
It was gifted to me from someone. Yeah, it's very nice. It's a black
from Julie Foudy or from what's her face?
Nobody
Portman?
famous. Nobody famous. But it's I think their whole branding is quite nice and
yeah. No, it's a thing. People are going. There was a lot of people. I think it was almost a full house on opening weekend. Like, it's a thing. I'm seeing the jerseys around here. I'm just like, I need to go see what's going on over at Angel City FC. I need to go check it out.
I've been trying to go out to see Gotham.
Gotham just
play
beat
at
Angel
RBA.
City
Yeah.
FC. They just beat that yesterday. The game was Gotham versus Angel City, and I think Gotham had a 1-0 win over them.
Yeah.
So good on you, Gotham. I remember the old Sky Blue FC days, and I wanted to go, but it was a 3-hour one-way
Yeah, it's very,
trip
very far.
because it was out in New Jersey, and I had to take a bus. I just didn't know how to get to that stadium. But I think they play in Red Bull Arena now, right? So
now it's Red Bull Arena. I almost bought season tickets earlier this year, but between NYCFC and NYCFC 2. But it does seem cool. I also was very excited when Ellie Long joined the team. She is really one of my favorites in terms of her. I love a defensive midfielder, and she is that. And but she's out. But she's currently out because she had a baby. So she's on maternity leave. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's a player named Endo who's crushing Angel City FC, which is so funny because of how much I've heard Endo this past week. That's the third Endo I've heard.
Yeah.
And Endo saved Stuttgart. Endo saved Leeds, right? Am I wrong? There's an
Jack
Endo
Harrison. Jack Harrison
Jack
saved
Harrison.
Leeds.
But there's two Endos. There's an Endo at Stuttgart, and I think there was an Endo somewhere
There's
else.
There was an Endo in Toronto.
Berlin.
There was an Endo in Toronto about.
Isn't there an Endo at Union Berlin? Is that who it was? I don't remember.
Perhaps.
There's two Endos.
Perhaps.
This is the third Endo. Angel City FC has an Endo who's been crushing it. So good on you, Endos. Keep it going.
Daniel Young saying that NYCFC's opponents get tougher from here, though. Yes and no, but
13 clubs over
I think that's true to some extent, but we also have already done a lot of. There's not a lot of sometimes you have in the schedule you have these road games that are kind of obvious losses, but we've already done like the trip to LA, the trip to Vancouver. I think there's one. I think Dallas is the farthest we travel from here on out, and so. I mean, it's gonna get the schedule is tight. There's a lot of games, and if Tati leaves, all bets are off. I'm not saying we're gonna crush everybody, but this was a good month.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. Do you want to? Should I recount some more stats? Would you like to hear me say some more stats about?
No. I think we need to end our podcast pretty soon. Our special Memorial Day podcast. I love you, except NYCFC. Enjoy the good times because there's always going to be bad times. You feel the bad times, enjoy the good times, appreciate it. I love it. That's the idea of being a fan.
Exactly.
And
so you wanted
and soccer.
You wanted to say a little bit about the U.S. men's national team.
U.S. Morocco. Not much. Just we got a couple games coming up. Haji Wright, you're up. Let's see what you got. Other than that, next man up. Other than that, I just want him to play good confident soccer. There's not much we're going to get out of this round. It's a couple of friendlies. It's Morocco and Uruguay, which are two good opponents, but they're friendlies. And then it's Grenada and Honduras, right? Or Grenada and El Salvador.
That's for the early Nations League thing?
And I'm like, there's a more competitive but less interesting opponent. You know what I mean?
El Salvador? Wait.
Is it El Salvador or Honduras?
Hold on.
It's one or the other.
I'm going to look now.
Yeah. I know one of them is Grenada, and that should be no cost at all. Maybe that gets a Sean Johnson game, a Sean John game.
What the
I'm pretty sure it's
disrespect? So it's Morocco at home,
Uruguay.
and then Uruguay at home,
They're all at home.
and they're all at home. Then Grenada and
El Salvador, right?
El Salvador. Yeah, that's the Nations League. El Salvador is on the road. That is not at home.
So,
So it's
so
three home.
that'll be probably their toughest challenge of them all. Because last time they went to El Salvador a few months ago for the World Cup, it was a 0-0, it was a hard-fought 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I mean Grenada.
All I want to see is the U.S. not reinvent the frickin' wheel every game. I want them to hold the ball, pass it confidently, pass it up front, make opportunities happen, and score some frickin' goals is what I want to see. I want to see a happy, free-flowing Christian Pulisic that isn't trying to take on the whole team by himself. I want him to take the ball, then pass the ball, and then receive the ball. I want him to move the ball. I don't want him to just take it and run against a team that we've seen so much. So, I just want to see the bonding to continue as they enter the World Cup prep. This is the last big group. But then they have, I think, another international window in September. And then it's the World Cup. And the World Cup comes fast. The league games end 8 days before the opening game, which is very tight. That used to never be the case. It's usually like 3 weeks or something between at least.
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be very hard to predict what's gonna happen.
I predict some weird results. It's also in a weird environment because of the heat and stuff like that. So I predict it to be kind of like the Korea-Japan tournament was full of weird results. A lot of weird results.
Yeah.
Because they had to pull the tournament early to avoid Asian rainy season. So a lot of the European teams were just exhausted and just not ready. We're like teams like.
Well, I mean,
Brazil
people
were
shouldn't be quite as tired. They get you get the summer off, and then it's basically like a late I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
I mean, like I said, I would love for them to have the whole summer off, but they're about to do 3 weeks of games, so it's like they're not on. And then preseason starts July, right? So
I'm talking about the European. I'm talking about the European players. Yeah.
Germany doesn't have any games coming up, do they? No,
right? They do have the Nations League. Yeah, we're playing Italy and England.
Games.
Italy and England. Yeah, more
and
nations.
Like France,
more
right?
Nations League.
I think they're playing a small minnow and then 3 giants or something. I forgot. I should have Googled this ahead of time. It is Germany, Italy. Yeah, Germany, England, I think. And then I think they're playing San Marino or something. But then they're also playing like France or Belgium or Spain. I forgot what the next one was.
It's Italy, England, Hungary, Italy again.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's tough. That's much tougher than Grenada and El Salvador. So that's going to be a tough string of games. But again, it goes back to the thing of like, shouldn't they be resting right now? Do we really need to see these games? The World Cup's in a couple of months.
Well, but they also need to, they need to get ready for the World Cup. I mean.
All right. Well, I wish them the best. When is Germany? Is that tomorrow? Germany, England.
Saturday.
Next week or next. No, it's
England.
in 7 days.
The 7th. No, the England game is the 7th of June.
Got it. And then they have. I think who's Germany playing? What's Germany's next game? Germany is playing Italy on Saturday.
And then
they're playing England on Tuesday, and then Hungary that following Saturday, then Italy in the middle of the month, the 14th.
The following Tuesday.
Which is Tuesday. Yeah, that's a tough string of games. And then, for crying out loud, mid-June, go get some rest. All the Germans will fly to Florida or whatnot, or Mallorca, and just relax your legs. Christian Pulisic will be down in Miami on his boat with his girlfriend or whatnot. Get some rest, Junge. Get some rest. Junge.
I mean, for the American players, so many injuries. So yeah.
Yeah, everybody in general. It's adding up. Yeah, go rest. So Weston McKennie, please have a good summer of recovery. We need your legs back. You played a couple trash minutes, but like our players need Giovanni Reina. The clock is ticking, Junge. The clock is ticking.
Gotta get fit.
Gotta get fit. So sad.
And still the number 9 spot's still open.
So USA Morocco today. Moral of the story: I want to see a confident game. I want them to hold the ball. I want to be dominant. I want them to pass the ball well, and I want them to take risks. I want to have a lot of goal scoring opportunities. I want them to score 2 goals, and I want them to have between 5 and 10 good chances. That's what I want to see.
All right.
That's what I want to see.
All right.
We'll see it. All right. Is
That's
that all, Bjorn? This has been another week
That's
of
the
whatever the
music.
heck this podcast is, the Schnitzel Boys podcast, the German
Schnitzel's
American soccer experts.
Cultural musings with the
Cultural
Schnitzel
music.
boys.
The Schnitzel Boys, talking about very obscure NYCFC soccer / European
What?
soccer, random things. We're gonna expand our MLS base. We're building up. We're building up correspondence. We got national correspondent. I'm in LA. I'm gonna try to do more LA stuff. We're building up.
Sadio
MLS base.
Mane. Next week I'll be at Sadio Mane's house to see if he's coming to Bayern.
Yeah. Daniel Young says the summer is very important for preparation. Okay, duly noted. They will be very busy next month. True. So I wish them all the best. Okay, tell your friends, like and subscribe, and rate and review, and boop boop ba ba ba. We're here next Monday, every Monday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Schnitzel Boys. Tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.
Tschüss, macht's gut.
Tschüss.
Bis nächste Woche.